So my senior capstone presentation, it's about the pressures and positives on modern gym culture. A little bit about me is I'm Jillian Greenland. I spent 3 years at Manoa, in pre-med, specifically like kinesiology. And then I transferred to West Oahu maybe like 2 years ago. Um, and I'm studying general creative media, like specifically like film. And I went to University Laboratory School, which is like across the street from UH Manoa, so I know the campus pretty good. So this is like the overall structure, my plans for my project, and then I'll discuss my thesis, going over some of the objectives and like the research that I looked at, and then addressing the significance of my project. So my thesis statement, modern gym culture has progressed significantly, driven by societal and health trends. The increased awareness of the connection between physical activity and mental health has driven a new crowd of people in the gym, as well as an emphasis from the government to fight against desk-bound lifestyles and obesity. Societal beauty standards, however, they're always changing, so they have created an emphasis on body image in the gym. So my overall um topic is just about how gym culture has influenced a lot of both negative and positive aspects when it comes to mental health as well as like lifestyle and the importance that comes with communities in general, not just the gym community. So like I said earlier, I want to bring awareness to the importance of communities because I think especially post-pandemic, like being able to be a part of a community is very important to socialize and just connect with one another. I think a lot of people right now, um, they long for personal connection because we did not get that for like 4 or 5 years, the pandemic. I also want to bring awareness to the negative stigmas that impact and surround like gym related expectations. So I will like go into like body dysmorphia and just comparing one another, and I go into like more in depth when it comes to like social media and how that's a big like catalyst when it comes to some of these negative stigmas. I also want to remind other people of the positive impacts that the gym culture has and just like community in general because even though I do harp a lot on like how there's negative things related to toxic gym culture, there's a lot of good things that come from it too. And just shed light on like the mental impacts as well as the physical impacts that come with the societal pressures. So for my capstone project, I'm gonna do a project and I plan on doing a multi-episode like video podcast. So I don't want it to be like an interview format. I want it to be more of like a podcast format, just kind of like a comfortable setting. And I'm gonna have like guest speakers each episode, and these like guest speakers I'm gonna have, they're not necessarily going to the gym every day. I do, most of them are, but I do have some that are like some of them just paddle. And so anything related to fitness in general, that they are involved in a community. It's like the paddling clubs and stuff like that. Um, but I'm gonna focus more on just the gym community. Some of the significances that I feel like come from my project, I feel like, again, harping on how communities they hold a space for people to socialize and it improves like their mental well-being, just being able to connect with one another. Um, Gym communities provide that. They also provide a space to improve and maintain your physical health. So I'm hoping maybe like there'll be more gyms or more clubs within the gym or more activities you can do or improving just the safety around these communities. Um, I feel like more trainers, I feel like the more gym gets popular, like that culture, hopefully more things come out of it. I also want to bring awareness to the pressures and mental impacts on community standards that are placed on individuals. So the picture I have is like the bodybuilder competitions where you're literally judged based on your body. And that has a huge mental impact on some people because you're constantly being compared and being judged based on your flaws or what's good about you. And so providing awareness and a better understanding of these struggles um, can help prevent struggles with food anxiety or body dysmorphia, even like physical burnout. And I just want to help promote a healthy relationship with one's body because I feel like that's something that everybody can benefit from. In regards to data, there's not a huge amount of data when it comes to gym culture specifically and mental health, but some of the data I have provided for this slide, on the left side, it's the positives that come from working out. So a lot of people, whenever they work out, they feel good after, like mentally. And so 93% feel more energized after exercising, specifically in nature, or 70% feel that they can concentrate better and be more productive. And so there are like lots of studies that prove that working out does improve your mental health or provide that dopamine. And then the graph that I have on the right side is more specifically for body dysmorphia, which is something that I talk about a lot in my project. Um, and so half of the purple portion is people who fixate mostly on like their body, and that plays a huge part when it comes to body dysmorphia in the gym or even muscle dysmorphia, which is where you feel like your muscles are not big enough because like toxic masculinity, like you gotta have big muscles. And so not just women face these issues, but men as well. And that's something I do touch on in my project, and I hope I can explore through my podcast. For my target audience, I do want to hopefully reach everyone, but I know that there's specific demographics that my topic applies to. And so I said like consistent gym goers and investors. And what I mean by investors is people who actively like spend money every day buying creatine, buying protein, all these supplements, like people who invest in the gym, it's like their lifestyle. Ages 18 through 30, but not limited because I feel like that's the general like people who are still discovering themselves and trying to figure out what's like learning more about themselves. I feel like that's 18 through 30. And then I do say women, but really it's for everyone. I just say women because when I talk about beauty standards, I feel like women are more likely to be more affected by that. My proposed solution, I just want to bring awareness to all the topics that I've talked about and then addressing like some of the negative stigmas around toxic gym culture. But hopefully through my podcast, if people like watch it, like creating a safe space within the community and like showing that, you know, going to the gym is not just like a bunch of steroided gym bros. Like it's when you find your people, like it's such a good like space. Like it's very safe. It's not all these like bad horror stories you always hear about all these big gym bros. Like so I feel like just addressing the negatives but also pointing out the positives. Um, my preparation process for my preparation, I guess location scouting because just finding where I want to hold these podcasts, like in a studio or at someone's house, like finding the right place, as well as researching, going over some of the points that I made in my paper, and finding guest speakers that are willing to talk with me and share their stories, and then researching more about them, like if they're in a paddling club, like what's the process in paddling, like what kind of conditioning they do, like kind of like learning more background on them as well as like gathering my equipment, like what kind of mics I'm going to use, what cameras, how many cameras. For production, inviting the guest speakers. And like I said earlier, like I don't want it to be an interview format, like 90 or what is it, 60 minutes. I kind of want it to be more of a podcast where just kind of bounce off each other and it's very like comfortable. Um, I don't want it to be like an interview. And then post-production, obviously like editing and then following up with my guest speakers. And then I feel like I'm gonna post these on a YouTube channel. I think that's my main platform I'm going to use. And then speaking of platform, I do feel like YouTube is probably one of the bigger platforms, especially because I'm doing a video podcast. But I'm not opposed to doing like also applying that to, I think there's an app just through your iPhone, like a podcast app, or I think Spotify does like podcasts as well. But because I want to do a video podcast, I feel like YouTube's the best platform for that. And then I also mentioned TikTok because I feel like sharing clips wise, like TikTok is like the number one go-to to spread awareness and like spread like to your friends, like, oh, look at this. And then that also applies to Instagram Reels. So I feel like that would help benefit me in the sense of like sharing my content. And that's all I have. Thank you.